Have you ever watched someone act like they don't care? Like nothing phases them? Like losing you meant nothing? Have you ever seen him walk away, shoulders high, as if he's untouchable, as if you were just another moment in his life? But here's the truth, the one he will never admit. His silence is a mask. His indifference is a lie. And the weight of your absence is crushing him from the inside out. He pretends it doesn't hurt, but it's killing him. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." But what happens when he can't? What happens when the loss of you lingers in his chest, heavy, suffocating, impossible to escape? He thought he could move on. He thought he could replace you, fill the void with distractions, drown out the echoes of what you once shared. But love is not so easily erased, and neither are you. You were not just a moment in his life. You were the fire that warmed him, the air that filled his lungs, the force that held him together. And now, without you, he is crumbling. Imagine a man standing in the middle of a burning house. He struck the match, thinking he could walk away untouched, thinking the fire wouldn't reach him. But the further he goes, the more the heat follows, the more the smoke fills his lungs, the more the flames remind him of what he destroyed. That is what your absence is doing to him. He believed he was in control. He believed he could leave without consequence. But the moment you were gone, the moment he felt the true emptiness of a world without you, reality hit. And now, no matter how far he runs, he cannot escape the fire of his own regret. Right now, he is playing a game, acting like everything is fine. He wants you to believe he never cared, that losing you was easy. But late at night, when the world is quiet and no one is watching, the truth comes creeping in. He checks his phone, hoping to see your name. He replays old conversations, searching for the warmth he once took for granted. He wonders if you still think about him, if you still feel the same, if you are waiting just like he is. Except you are not. Because while he is trapped in the past, drowning in the weight of what he lost, you are rising. You are no longer the woman who begs to be chosen. You are no longer waiting for him to wake up and see your worth. The days of proving yourself, of justifying your love, of fighting for a place in his life, those days are over. Because you are stepping into something greater. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are not weak. You are fire. You are light. You are a force of nature. And while he sits in silence, pretending that nothing has changed, you are walking away without a second glance. But do not mistake his quiet for peace. Do not believe his act of indifference, because while you move forward, he is stuck. He will smile in front of his friends, act as if life is perfect. But when he is alone, when the distractions fade, when the noise settles, when there is nothing left but his own thoughts, that is when the pain begins. That is when he finally understands that the greatest mistake he ever made was letting you go. Imagine a man standing in a crowded room, surrounded by laughter, by voices, by everything he thought he wanted. But in the midst of it all, there is an emptiness in his chest, a hollow space that no one can fill. He looks around searching for something, someone, for you, but you are no longer there. You are no longer available. And the realization is suffocating. He thought he had time. He thought he had options. But now he understands the truth. He did not just lose a woman. He lost the best thing that ever happened to him. But this is not about him anymore. This is not about his regret, his pain, his awakening. This is about you. Because you were never meant to be just another name in his life. You were never meant to be a lesson for him to learn too late. You were meant to reign. A queen does not wait to be noticed. A queen does not beg to be loved. A queen does not look back at a man who was blind to her worth. And that is exactly who you are becoming. This is your moment. No more waiting, no more hoping, no more proving. You do not need to teach him a lesson. You do not need to make him see what he lost. Because the moment you stepped away, the moment you reclaimed your power, the moment you chose yourself, that was the moment he lost everything. Write this in the comments and claim it. He pretends it doesn't hurt, but my absence is his greatest pain. Let the world know that you are done explaining, done waiting, done looking back. If this message spoke to your soul, if it awakened something inside you, like this video and subscribe. Because we are here, working hard to bring you the truth, the strength, and the power that will set you free. Queens, your time is now. Rise, reign, and never look back. Number 1. His silence is just a smokescreen, but the fire of regret is raging inside him. Have you ever seen a man who lost something priceless but acts like he never wanted it in the first place? He walks like he's untouched, talks like he's free, pretends like life is moving forward without a second thought. But behind that mask of silence, behind the fake confidence, something is burning. The fire of regret, the kind that keeps him up at night, the kind that turns even the strongest man into a prisoner of his own mind. He thought he was in control. He thought he could walk away without consequence. But now, the absence of you is louder than any words he could ever speak. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." And his ambition was never to truly lose you. He wanted to see if you would fight for him, prove yourself, chase him. He wanted to test your love, thinking he could break you just enough to make you stay. But he never expected you to leave. He never thought you would choose silence over his games. And now he is the one suffering. Because nothing haunts a man more than the silence of a woman who once loved him. Imagine a man holding a flame in his hands. He feels its warmth, enjoys its light, but believes it will never burn him. So he plays with it, flicking it carelessly, never considering what happens when the fire finally disappears. Then, suddenly, the warmth is gone, the light fades, and the coldness sets in. He tries to bring it back, but it's too late. The fire no longer belongs to him. That is exactly what he is feeling right now. He took you for granted, believing he had all the time in the world. But now, you are gone, and no matter how much he pretends, the coldness of his own mistake is eating him alive. At first, he convinced himself that he didn't care. He told himself that life would be better, that you were just another chapter closing. He thought ignoring you would make him stronger, but the silence he once controlled is now his worst nightmare. Every time he looks at his phone and doesn't see your name, every time he goes through old messages and realizes the love you once gave him is no longer his, the fire inside him grows. But this fire, this is not the warmth of comfort. This is the burn of regret, the kind that never leaves, the kind that follows him everywhere he goes. He might act like he's thriving, but the truth is, his world is empty without you. The moments he once brushed off now replay in his mind like a song he can't escape. He wonders if you still think about him, if you still feel the same, if you're missing him the way he is missing you. But deep down, the answer scares him, because for the first time he realizes he is the only one stuck in the past. While he is haunted by the memories, you are stepping into a new chapter, one where he no longer has a place. And this is where everything changes. Because you are not just another woman in his story. You are the lesson he will never forget. The moment he lost you, he lost more than just love. He lost the one person who truly saw him, who truly cared, who truly gave without asking for anything in return. And now he is left with nothing but silence, the same silence he once thought would make him stronger, but instead it is breaking him from the inside out. But queens, this is not about him anymore. This is about you, because you are not broken. You are not waiting. You are not hoping he wakes up and realizes what he lost. You are rising. You are stepping into your power, into a life that no longer revolves around proving your worth to a man who was blind to it. You are not his lesson. You are your own victory. Write this in the comments and claim it. His silence is just a smokescreen. His regret is the fire that will never stop burning. Let the world know that you are done waiting, done proving, done looking back. Queens, if this message spoke to your soul, if it reminded you of your power, like this video and subscribe. We are here, working hard to bring you the truth, the strength, and the wisdom that will set you free. This is your time. Rise, reign, and never look back. Number 2, he acts unbothered, but every night his mind is a war zone of what-ifs. Have you ever watched a man put on a mask so perfect, so convincing, that even he starts to believe it? He walks like he's untouched, like nothing phases him, like losing you was just another ordinary day. But what happens when the lights go out, when the world stops watching, when it's just him and the silence? That's when the war begins. He acts unbothered, but his mind is a battlefield of what-ifs. What if he had fought for you? What if he had swallowed his pride instead of letting you slip away? What if you really are gone forever? These thoughts don't come in whispers. They come like crashing waves, like raging storms, like a fire he cannot put out. He thought he could erase you, replace you, move on as if you never mattered. But the truth is breaking him in ways he never saw coming. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." But what happens when his ambitions were built on the wrong foundation? He wanted control, power, the upper hand. He wanted to prove that he could live without you. But now, in the quiet of his own mind, he sees the truth. He lost something no amount of distractions can replace. Imagine a man drowning in the ocean, trying to convince himself that he's not sinking. He tells himself he's fine, that the waves are nothing, that he doesn't need saving. But as the water rises, as the weight of regret pulls him under, he realizes too late. He should have held on to the one thing that kept him afloat. That was you. You were the air he breathed, the steady ground beneath his feet, the home he never appreciated. Now he is lost at sea, swallowed by the very silence he once used to push you away. He thought leaving you meant freedom. He thought ignoring you meant power. But now his power is an illusion. His freedom is a prison. And every night when he closes his eyes, he sees you. The way you loved him, the way you gave without question, the way you were always there, until one day you weren't. And now that absence is the loudest thing in his world. At first, he was waiting, waiting for the text, the call, the moment you'd break and come running back. But the longer the silence stretches, the deeper the reality cuts. You are not reaching out. You are not begging for his attention. You are not playing his game anymore. And now, his biggest fear is coming true. He is the only one still holding on. But this is not about him anymore. This is not about his pain, his regret, his sleepless nights. This is about you. Because you are not the woman who waits in the shadows. You are not the woman who cries over a man who never saw her worth. You are fire. You are light. You are a force of nature. And you will never lower yourself again for a man who had to lose you to understand what you were worth. This is your moment. No more waiting. No more hoping he wakes up. No more wondering if he will change. Because the woman he lost is not the woman who will rise from this. You are stepping into your power. You are reclaiming your crown. You are living as a queen. And when he finally breaks, when he finally realizes the depth of what he lost, you will be so far ahead that he won't even know where to find you. Queens, write this in the comments and claim it. He acts unbothered, but my silence is the war he can't win. Let the world know that you are done waiting, done explaining, done looking back. Like this video and subscribe, because we are here, working hard to bring you the strength, the truth, and the power to rise. Your time is now. Reign, and never look back. Number 3. He thought he had time, but now he's running out of roads to find his way back to you. He thought he had time. He thought no matter how far he wandered, how long he stayed away, the road back to you would always be open. He believed you would wait, that your love was endless, that no matter what he did, you would still be there, ready to forgive, ready to pick up where things left off. But now he stands at the edge of a path that no longer exists, searching for a way back that has already disappeared. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions," and that is exactly where he failed. He took you for granted because he believed he had control. He believed he could walk away, chase his distractions, let time pass, and still find you exactly where he left you. But love does not wait for hesitation. Respect does not survive neglect. And now he is left with nothing but regret. Imagine a man lost in a maze. At first, he is confident, taking turns without thinking, believing he can always find his way back. But as he moves forward, the paths start to close. The familiar exits disappear. Every turn he takes leads to a dead end. And as he finally realizes he is trapped, the panic sets in. That is what he is feeling now. He thought he had time. He thought he had options. But every door he once took for granted is now locked. And the worst part, the only key to freedom was you. At first, he won't admit it. He will pretend he doesn't care. He will act like losing you was just another chapter, just another choice. But inside, he is unraveling. He checks his phone, hoping for your name to appear. He revisits old conversations, searching for signs of the love he once ignored. He tells himself he can still fix things, that you will come back. But deep down, in the silence of his own mind, he knows the truth. You are gone. But this is not about him anymore. This is about you. Because while he is running in circles, lost in his own mistakes, you are walking away. You are no longer standing at the crossroads, waiting to be chosen. You're no longer leaving space for his return. You're moving forward, stepping into your power, creating a life that does not need him to be complete. This is your moment to reclaim everything. No more waiting, no more hoping, no more looking back. You are not just surviving this, you are transforming. You are stepping into a version of yourself that is untouchable, unshakable, unstoppable. A queen does not hold open doors for those who walked away. A queen does not wait for a man to realize what he lost. A queen reigns, whether he sees it or not. And when he finally understands, when the weight of his mistakes crashes down on him, when he reaches for what is no longer there, it will be too late. Because the woman he thought he could return to, she has already become something greater. Queens, write this in the comments and claim it. The road back to me no longer exists. Let the world know that you are done waiting, done hoping, done holding space for what was never meant to last. If this message spoke to your soul, if it reminded you of your strength, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because we are here, working hard to bring you the truth, the wisdom, and the power that will set you free. This is your time. Rise, reign, and never look back. Number 4. He wanted to see if you'd chase him. Now he's the one searching for you in every shadow. Have you ever watched someone push you away only to secretly hope you'd chase after them? Have you ever seen him walk out of your life with confidence, acting like he was in control, like he had the upper hand? He wanted to test you. He wanted to see if you would run after him, beg for him, prove that you couldn't live without him. But now he's the one searching. Now he's the one haunted by the emptiness he created. He looks for you in every shadow, in every place, in every moment. But you are no longer there. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And right now, his thoughts are restless. He thought leaving you would give him power, that watching you fight for him would feed his ego. But instead, he is the one trapped in his own mind, replaying memories, regretting choices, feeling the sting of what he lost. He expected your tears, your desperate calls, your broken heart laid out before him. But instead, you gave him silence. And now, that silence is louder than any words ever could be. Imagine a man standing on a shore, watching the waves roll in, feeling sure that the tide will always return to his feet. He grows careless, believing he owns the ocean, that no matter what he does, the waves will always come back. But one day, the tide doesn't return. The water pulls back, leaving nothing but dry, empty sand. He waits, confused, certain that it will come back. But it doesn't, and that's when it hits him. He never controlled the ocean. He just took its presence for granted. That is exactly what is happening to him right now. He thought he could push and pull you like a tide, but now that you're gone, he is drowning in the space you left behind. At first, he convinced himself that he was fine. He distracted himself, laughed with friends, pretended he was moving on. But late at night, when there's no one around, the truth begins to sink in. He scrolls through old conversations, looking for proof that you still care. He replays the sound of your voice in his mind, remembering how safe it once felt. He catches himself searching for you in places he never noticed before, hoping, just hoping, that you might still be there. But you are not. You have moved forward, stepped into your power, risen above the games he played. But do not mistake his search for strength. He is not looking for you because he is winning. He is looking because he is lost. He thought he could replace you, that finding someone else would fill the void. But what he failed to understand is that you were never just another person in his life. You were the rarest kind of love, the kind that doesn't come twice. And now, no matter how many faces he looks into, no matter how many conversations he starts, he will never find another you. And you are no longer the woman who waits. You are no longer standing at a door that refuses to open. The days of proving yourself, of hoping he wakes up, of chasing after a love that didn't honor you, those days are over. Because now, you're stepping into the life you were always meant to have. Queens, this is your moment. No more chasing, no more waiting, no more looking back. He walked away, expecting you to follow, but instead, you disappeared into a life so radiant, so powerful, that he can only watch from a distance. And that distance, it will be his greatest pain. Write this in the comments and claim it. He wanted me to chase him. Now he's the one searching for me in every shadow. Let the world know that you are done playing small, done proving, done hoping for a man who didn't see your worth. Like this video, subscribe, and stand with us, because we are here, working hard to remind you of the power you have always had. Queens, your time is now. Rise, reign, and never look back. Number 5. He didn't just lose you. He lost his peace, his sanity, his safe place. Have you ever seen a man walk away like he lost nothing? Like you were just another moment, just another chapter, just another passing phase? He carries himself with pride, pretending that letting you go was his decision, that he is at peace, that his world is untouched. But behind closed doors, where no one can see, the weight of your absence is pressing down on him. He didn't just lose you, he lost his peace, his sanity, his safe place. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But he has lost that power. His mind is restless, his thoughts are spinning, and no matter how much he tries to distract himself, he cannot outrun the emptiness you left behind. He thought he was the strong one. He thought he had control. But now, control is slipping through his fingers like sand in the wind. He believed the world outside was more exciting. He thought he could replace the warmth you gave. That peace was something he could find in distractions, in shallow conversations, in empty attention. But now he understands. Peace was not a place. Peace was not a moment. Peace was you. You were the only person who made him feel safe, the only person who saw his soul, the only person who stood beside him when no one else did. And now he is lost in a storm he created, searching for shelter in places that will never feel like home. Imagine a man standing in the middle of a crowded room, surrounded by noise, by people, by everything he thought he wanted. But in the middle of all that, there's a silence inside him that won't go away. He smiles, he laughs, he pretends to enjoy himself. But deep down, there is a hollow space in his chest where your love used to be. He thought moving on was easy. He thought he could replace you. But now, no matter how many faces he sees, no matter how many hands he holds, he feels nothing. Because love like yours, it doesn't come twice. He checks his phone, scrolling mindlessly, hoping for a message that will never come. He replays old conversations, searching for the warmth he once ignored. He lays awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why the peace he once felt is gone. He never realized that you were not just a person in his life. You were the home his heart rested in. And now, without you, nothing feels right. But this is not about him. This is about you. Because while he is drowning in regret, you are rising. While he is searching for something to fill the void, you are glowing. You are no longer waiting, no longer explaining, no longer proving your worth. Because your worth was never his to decide. Queens, this is your moment. No more tears, no more doubt, no more looking back. The love you gave was rare, the kind that changes lives, the kind that cannot be replaced. And now, it belongs to you. You are stepping into a version of yourself that is untouchable, unbreakable, unstoppable. You do not need him to feel whole. You do not need his validation to know your worth. You do not need his presence to shine. Write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. He lost his peace, his sanity, and his safe place the day he lost me. Let the world know that you are done waiting, done explaining, done proving. Like this video and subscribe, because we're here, working hard to bring you the truth, the lessons, and the power that will set you free. Queens, you were never meant to be an option. You were meant to reign. Number 6. He thought he was the one with power. Now he's powerless against the ache you left behind. Have you ever seen a man who once acted like he held all the power, only to crumble under the weight of his own choices? He thought he had control over the story. He believed that walking away, ignoring you, or keeping you at a distance made him stronger. He was so sure that he was the one making the rules, the one with the upper hand. But now he's realizing the truth. The power was never his. The moment you walked away, the moment you chose silence, the moment you stopped proving your worth to him, that's when his world started to fall apart. Seneca once said, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." And that is exactly what's happening to him. He thought he could let you go without consequence. He thought he could push you away and still be fine. But now, the suffering is creeping in. Every time he checks his phone and doesn't see your name, every time he sees something that reminds him of you, every time he realizes that the love he took for granted is now out of his reach, he feels the ache. And this time, he has no power over it. Imagine a man standing in a storm, convinced that he is stronger than the wind, the rain, the lightning. He refuses to take shelter. He refuses to admit that he is vulnerable. But as the storm rages on, as the rain soaks him, as the cold sinks into his skin, he starts to shiver. His body weakens. His pride kept him standing. But now, reality is forcing him to his knees. That is exactly what is happening to him. He thought he could withstand the loss of you. He thought his pride was enough to keep him warm. But now he is powerless against the storm of regret. At first, he pretended not to care. He laughed. He kept himself distracted. He told himself he had made the right choice. But time has a way of exposing the truth. He no longer feels powerful. He no longer feels in control. Because real power was never about holding someone else down. It was about knowing your worth. And while he was too busy playing games, you rose. You are not the woman he walked away from. You are not sitting in the shadows, waiting for him to see your value. You are not trapped in a cycle of hoping, of waiting, of explaining. Those days are over. Because you're stepping into a new version of yourself, one that no longer needs to be chosen, because you choose yourself. You were never meant to be a pawn in his game. You were meant to reign. Now, he sits in silence, powerless against the ache that fills his chest. He thought he had control over your emotions, but now he can't even control his own. He thought ignoring you would make you chase him, but now he is the one chasing memories of you. He thought time would make him forget, but instead, time is forcing him to remember. Queens, this is your moment. This is where you take back everything and more. No more waiting, no more hoping he comes back, no more wondering if he regrets it, because his regret is not your burden to carry. The power was never in his hands. It was in yours all along. And now? Now, you are unstoppable. Write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. He thought he had power over me. Now he's powerless against my absence. Let the world know that you are done looking back, done explaining, done proving. Like this video, subscribe to the channel and step fully into the power that has always been yours. Queens, your time is now. Rise, reign, and never look back. Number 7. He chose his ego over you, but his ego can't keep him warm at night. Have you ever seen a man who would rather lose the love of his life than admit he was wrong? A man who chooses his ego over everything, convinced that pride is worth more than love. He thought walking away meant power. He thought silence meant strength. He believed ignoring you would prove something. But now the nights are colder, the emptiness is louder, and the space where you once stood feels like a wound he can't heal. He chose his ego over you, but his ego can't keep him warm at night. Seneca once said, "He who is controlled by his pride is a prisoner of his own making." And that is exactly where he is now, trapped in the walls of his own stubbornness, replaying the choices that led him here. He told himself you would come back, that you would reach out, that you would break first. But as the days pass and your name never appears on his phone, something shifts. The confidence he once had starts to crack. The mask of indifference begins to slip, because now, in the silence he created, he has no choice but to face the truth. He lost you, and for the first time, he realizes his ego was never worth the price. Imagine a man standing in a vast, empty house. It was once filled with warmth, laughter, and love. But now, it's silent, cold. He walks through the rooms, touching the places where you once stood, where your presence once made everything feel alive. But now, no matter how much he wishes, no matter how much he pretends it doesn't bother him, he cannot bring that warmth back. That is what he did to himself. He thought his pride would protect him, but all it did was leave him standing in the ruins of something he can never rebuild. He will never tell you this. He will act like he is fine. He will post pictures, surround himself with distractions, and pretend like nothing has changed. But the moment the world goes quiet, when no one is watching, his thoughts will scream your name. He will remember the way you made him feel safe, the way you believed in him when no one else did, the way your love was the only real thing he ever had. And that is when the regret will hit him like a storm he never saw coming. But here's the truth. This is not your burden to carry. His regret does not belong to you. His choices are not your responsibility. He made a bet with his own arrogance, and now he must live with the consequences. You are not the woman who waits for a man to realize her worth. You are not the woman who lowers herself to be chosen. You are not here to fix what he broke. Because you were never the one who lost. You were never the one who needed to prove anything. You were the prize. You were the warmth. You were the love he will search for in every woman, but never find again. And by the time he finally understands this, you will be long gone, standing in a life so powerful, so radiant, that he will not even recognize the woman he once took for granted. Queens, this is your moment. No more waiting, no more hoping, no more looking back. He chose his ego. Now, let him live with it, because while he drowns in his own pride, you are rising, you are glowing, you are becoming the woman who no longer needs to be remembered by him, because you have already become unforgettable. Write this in the comments and claim it. He chose his ego, and now he sleeps in the cold of his own mistakes. Let the world know that you are done explaining, done proving, done waiting. Like this video, subscribe, and join us, because we are here, working hard to bring you the truth, the strength, and the lessons that will set you free. Queens, your throne is waiting. It's time to reign. Number 8. He pretends he's thriving, but the moment he sees you, glowing without him, it will destroy him. Have you ever seen a man laugh in a crowded room, acting like life has never been better, only to see his eyes betray the truth? Have you ever watched him post pictures, go out, pretend to be untouched, while deep inside, something is eating away at him? He thought walking away was his victory. He thought losing you was just another chapter he could close without a second thought. But the moment he sees you, glowing, thriving, standing taller than ever, that is when the weight of his mistake will crush him. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." And right now, he is not living. He is pretending. Pretending that nothing has changed, that losing you didn't shake him to his core. But every fake smile, every forced laugh, every moment spent trying to prove that he's fine, is only dragging him deeper into his own regret. Because deep down, he knows the truth. He lost something that cannot be replaced. He thought the best revenge was moving on quickly, distracting himself, making sure you believe he never cared. But what he didn't realize is that the best revenge is not proving anything to him. It's proving everything to yourself. While he's trying to convince the world that he's happy, you are actually becoming happy. While he's busy seeking attention, you are busy seeking growth. And when he finally sees you again, stronger, wiser, untouchable, it will destroy him. Imagine a man walking through the desert, dying of thirst. He once had water in his hands, but he let it slip through his fingers, believing he could always find more. At first, he didn't feel it. At first, he was confident. But as the days pass, as the sun burns hotter, as his throat runs dry, reality sinks in. He gave up something priceless, and now, no matter how far he searches, he will never find it again. That is what your absence is doing to him. He didn't feel it at first. He thought he was fine. But now, as time stretches on, as the distractions lose their shine, as the noise dies down, he is left with only one thing: the realization that he lost you. But this is not about him anymore. This is not about his pain, his regret, his slow-burning guilt. This is about you, because you were never meant to be just another memory in his life. You were never meant to be an afterthought. He may have walked away, but you are rising, you are thriving. And the more you step into your power, the more he will feel the weight of what he lost. Because a queen does not chase. A queen does not beg. A queen does not waste time waiting for a man to wake up and see her worth. She reigns. And that is exactly what you are doing now. You are stepping into a version of yourself that is unstoppable. You are no longer waiting for his recognition, his validation, his love. Because the love you need, it starts with you. So let him pretend. Let him act like he is untouched. Let him post. Let him laugh. Let him play the game. Because deep inside, he is breaking. And the moment he sees you again, glowing, powerful, unshaken, that is the moment he will realize he was never the one who won. Queens, write this in the comments and claim it. My glow will be the weight of his regret. Let the world know that you are done looking back, done proving, done waiting. If this message awakened something inside you, if it reminded you of the fire that has always been inside you, like this video and subscribe. We are here, working hard to bring you the lessons, the truth, and the strength that will set you free. Because you were never meant to beg, you were meant to reign.